Hey there guys, Jordan here, back with another reaction video, and it's going to be another death battle. And this death battle is going to be Sauron versus Lich King, Lord of the Rings versus World of Warcraft. Oh, the battle of the two supreme overlords. Now, I don't know much about Lord of the Rings. Well, I have seen a few clips of their movies, although I never actually played World of Warcraft. So, like usual, I'm going to remain neutral for this episode. So then, let's see how these two supreme overlords go off against each other. And here we go.
Sauron, the Lord of the Rings. The Lich King, Warcraft's Lord of the Scourge. Evil has many shapes, but few can match the presence of these kings of blight and shadow. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright, first up, Sauron.
Within the timeless halls, at the dawn of creation, the supreme god Eru and his angelic Ainur created all of existence through a single harmonious song. But one of these angels just had to be a rebel. Melkor ruined that harmony, giving the world its many, many imperfections. Like then after messing up the single and
like
going
Wiz.
rogue, Melkor took up a new name just to be even more metal. Morgoth. Morgoth's power was impressive.
Melkor was named Morgoth by the elf king.
Daunting. Several Maiar. God. Morgoth's power was impressive.
Melkor was named Morgoth by the elf king Kenor. Morgoth means dark enemy. Okay. Well, I guess people of the Middle Earth seem to have some meanings behind their names. So, that's interesting to know.
Daunting. Several Maiar, essentially lower-ranked angels, joined him in his frightening conquest of the world he had helped create. And the greatest of these followers was one obsessed with destroying all life in the pursuit of bringing about complete order. He used to be Myron, but under Morgoth's reign, he became the one and only Sauron. As the bigwig of
Background. Other names: Myron, Anatar, Gorthar, Zegor. Titles: Lord of the Rings, Dark Lord of Mordor, Necromancer, Lord of Gifts, the All-Seeing Eye, the Enemy. Age: at least, god damn, 54,950 years. God damn, that's old. Maya of Morgoth, formerly the Aulue, creator and first bearer of the One Ring, second in command of Morgoth's armies. Wow. Sauron certainly did strike fear in the hearts of many people in Middle-earth. But then again, his opponent may be just as intimidating. We'll know for sure.
Morgoth's forces, Sauron spent thousands of years bringing Middle-earth to its knees. He's almost more a force of nature than anything else, able to create infernos, cause country-spanning earthquakes, and even absorb souls.
Whoa.
And because he's a weird angel spirit man, he can morph his body around his own soul however he wants, or just shed it like clothing and fight as a ghost. He can morph far beyond that. He has appeared as something akin to both man and elf, attractive and devious. A werewolf, once thought to be the greatest wolf of all, and even a vampire.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go nuts with that. Many of his greatest accomplishments are not due to his powerful magics and weaponry, but his inhuman cunning. Sauron is nothing less than a master of manipulation. He's
Is that so?
Satan did a fusion dance. illusions, shadow magic, or just by toying with their sad, predictable, pathetic human emotions. Like when he convinced Saruman to join the evil side, who was basically a super wizard specifically meant to lead the charge against Sauron. In some ways, Sauron is actually wiser than the master he served. In the most epic war to eclipse all other wars, humans, dwarves, elves, and destroy Morgoth, casting what remained of Melkor into the void. But Sauron saw it coming and bailed faster than me at a divorce hearing, just to show back up centuries later in the fiery pits of Mordor.
Wow.
Dark Lord created a plan to conquer everything. He fooled the elven smiths into forging 19 rings of power and planted them among the leaders of elven, man, and dwarven kind, all controlled by another ring he made in secret. The one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Oh,
God
that's
damn.
so epic. I think I'm into poetry now. Forged in the fires of Mount...
The One Ring, aka the Ring of Power, Isildur's Bane, contains part of Sauron's essence. Powers granted, dominion over other rings of power, enhanced natural traits, enhanced perception, increased longevity, invisibility, mental domination, prophecy, nearly indestructible. Wow. For such a small piece of jewelry, this thing seems to be very overpowering. It makes you wonder how it's going to fare against his opponent. Well, I suppose we'll know once we get to the battle.
Doom using part of Sauron's own soul. The One Ring amplified his power and let him control the minds and actions of the other ring bearers. The 9 kings of men were especially vulnerable and saw themselves reduced to twisted wraiths bent to Sauron's whims. It wasn't any better for the less kingly humans. So much so that Sauron mind controlled most of Numenor. We're talking about an island nation that could have had...
The estimated population is credited to Dr. Stephen Wagemore, a doctor of philosophy from the University of Warwick. Ah, so this doctor of philosophy is the one who estimated the population of this island. I suppose that's great to know.
As many as 18 million people, and Sauron had them all at his creepy, pokey fingertips. This led to retaliation from Eru, who had hardly directly intervened ever before, even against Morgoth. Eru sank Numenor, while Sauron was still on it. But the Dark Lord spirit persevered, indestructible even against the wrath of God. Sauron used the ring to build himself a new body.
The One Ring is practically indestructible. Even Alcalagon the Black, the greatest of winged dragons who leveled the mountains of Thangorodrim, exceeding 479 gigatons of force, would not be able to damage it. Wow. So even the most powerful winged dragon couldn't destroy this one particular ring. That is truly astonishing.
It may have cost a lot of power, but he took a biblical event to the face and went right back on to being evil. And yet, putting so much power into one object did have drawbacks. Which hit me hard when Isildur subtracted a digit from his hand.
In the books, Elrond claimed that Sauron was overthrown while slaying Elendil and Gil-galad, but it is unclear how. Only afterward did Isildur take the One Ring. I see. So the books say that Sauron was overthrown, however, it's unclear as to how he was overthrown. I suppose the films couldn't be able to interpret that to the big screen.
The Warrior King did more than just cut off a finger. He took the ring and its power for himself. This act forced Sauron to retreat as a disembodied spirit, threatened by his own power in the hands of another. And should the One Ring be destroyed completely, Sauron's spirit could be rendered impotent beyond repair. It isn't all bad, though. The ring can turn you invisible, create visions of impending doom, and has one hell of a defense mechanism. Yeah, who'd want to destroy it when it makes you want it? It has a will of its own, with promises whispered even the best of us can't refuse. The greatest poultry dinner ever? Bourbon,
Boomstick?
Parmesan, turduckens. It's so precious.
Boomstick.
What did you just do? What? It sounded delicious. Ring or no ring, Sauron's a beast. He's swatted away armies of souls.
Powers: flight and levitation, immortality, body regeneration, longevity, spirit form, psychic and illusory magic, shadow and flame magic, shape-shifting, soul manipulation, teleportation, weather manipulation. Wow. Those are some impressive powers, especially when one of them is basically immortality. But then again, there could be a possibility that his immortality could be taken away. I suppose we'll know soon enough.
Interrupted Mount Doom through sheer willpower. He has total control over his own being and can modify his soul at will. So he can definitely resist someone like spooky ghost Celebrimbor trying to dominate his spirit. And being among the strongest Maiar, the peak of Sauron's power is beyond that of Osei, a lesser Maya, which is specifically important because Osei single-handedly raised the island of Numenor.
Whoa.
Remember that island that got no one? That place. No wonder everyone wants his ring.
The Valar have far greater feats, but Maras such as Sauron have inferior power comparatively. Therefore, Sauron generally scales to feats performed by Maiar and other beings lesser than the Valar. Whoa. So it seems that Sauron actually can do much greater feats, better than the people who are supposed to be superior to him in every way. Wow. That's some vigorous training he's had there.
Who could turn down that much power? Not Isildur. The hearts of men are easily corrupted, and he kept the ring rather than destroy it. But in the end, the ring destroyed him and waited for its master's return. Sauron was rebuilding Mordor into a world-conquering force. And after a little bit of good old-fashioned torture, he found out the ring was in the Shire. The chillest, coziest, dopest place imaginable. Ah, man, when I retire, I'm gonna go live in a hobbit hole and just get lit 24/7. And so began the war.
Feats: conjured a storm from Mordor to Minas Tirith, directed much of Morgoth's war, fled from Dol Guldur at hypersonic speed, matched Celebrimbor's mind and soul powers, successfully subjugated most of Numenor, survived divine intervention from Iluvatar, defeated Gandalf, Celebrimbor, Gil-galad, Elendil, Finrod, Altariel. Whoa. Those do seem to be some pretty impressive feats. Though his opponent might have better feats than he does. Well, you win some and you lose some. So, there is that.
Of the ring, Sauron's forces covered the land, seeking both the ring and the downfall of man. always shadowed by the symbol of his ever-present influence, the Eye of Sauron. It was a slaughterfest. Middle-earth stood no chance. Everybody basically accepted death by orcs as inevitable. It was hopeless. The kingdoms of men would finally fall for good. Save for the Dark Lord's truest weakness. Sauron's cunning and stratagems were impressive, sure, but ultimately, he never truly understood the people of Middle-earth. In his mind, absolute power was factually irresistible. He never imagined a mere mortal could ever, or would ever, seek to actually destroy the One Ring. Against all odds and a whole lot of walking, Sauron was defeated, not by the sparkly new king or the armies of Middle-earth, but by the most unlikely creature imaginable, Elijah Wood. Yet, even as a formless shadow, Sauron's legacy remains one of domination, treachery, and most of all, fear. Fitting for the being that represents, and I quote, as near an approach to the holy evil will as is possible.
Wow. Alright, next up, the Lich King.
On the distant planet of Draenor, destruction was imminent. The orc shaman Ner'zhul prepared a spell with his followers to tear the planet asunder, all to escape the fury of the demon lord Kil'jaeden. But when Ner'zhul waltzed through the portal, Kil'jaeden was right there waiting for him. Ner'zhul was forced to serve Kil'jaeden's will to ravage another world, Azeroth. Thus, he was transformed into the first Lich King. This Lord of the Dead was sent to the continent of Northrend, but Kil'jaeden had one more twist for poor Zul. His body was gone, leaving just his spirit, which was bound to a set of armor sealed within a prison of magical ice. Man, this guy can't catch a break. Armor looks sick, though. He's gonna possess me if I put that on, huh? From his frozen prison, the Lich King would begin his conquest, conjuring an unstoppable plague of undeath. Soon, this would threaten the lives of the kingdom of Lordaeron. Okay, so that was a lot, but here's where our main guy finally shows up. Lordaeron's crown prince and holy knight, Arthas Menethil. Yeah, Snape does kind of sound like something your doctor would give you for fungus, but hey, no. Arthas was a badass. At 19 years old, he was
Background, real name Arthas Menethil. Titles, Scourge Lord, King of the Damned, King of Lordaeron. Age, 29 years. Death Knight, former human paladin, former lover of Jaina Proudmoore, killed his own father, interned at Blizzard in 2017. Okay, that last part seemed odd, but the rest of it, wow, certainly does make you want to sympathize with him more, despite him being a supreme overlord. But then again, with his age, Sauron is much older than him, so maybe he would have more experience. Well, I guess we'll know when we get to the battle.
Considered one of the best swordsmen in the world, and had mastered nearly every weapon he could. Even with such a skilled warrior as its prince, Lordaeron was already severely pressured by a war with an orcish horde, so a zombie plague was the last thing Arthas needed. Compounding this even further, Ner'zhul managed to break free of Kil'jaeden's power, and turned his attention toward creating a champion to lead his ever-growing scourge.
Wow.
Naturally, he chose Arthas, who was a stressed-out mess, to the point where he tried to stop the plague by killing everyone in his own city. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was totally losing it, so hearing a creepy voice in his head really didn't help. Long story short, in his efforts to protect his realm, Arthas discovered a rune blade and took it for himself. This was the fearsome Frostmourne. Surprise! It's the source of the Lich King's power.
Technically, the Heim of Domination serves as the Lich King's source of power, while Frostmourne functions as a conduit. For Arthas specifically, Frostmourne is directly tied to his power. I see. So Frostmourne serves as the Lich King's vessel, while the Helm of Domination is his source. And Arthas has approached Frostmourne, which is tied to his power. Well, I guess that's one way to find a perfect vessel for your spirit.
He was stealing souls and storing them within the blade. With this new ice-cold cleaver in hand, Arthas lost his soul and got a Death Knight makeover. And so the former hero of light would lead the very scourge he previously fought. And in time, Arthas would don the armor for himself, giving the Lich King a new, ultimate power. Walking! Remember, everything the Lich King had done up until this point had been from his prison within a literal block of ice. And this new Sauronite armor, Saronite armor, is the best. Like, what was it doing stuck in ice all this time when it's made of old god blood and self-repairs? Screw you, blacksmith, you're never taking my hard-earned gold. I'll never have to get naked and die again! Donning this dark helm.
Arsenal. Frostmourne reaps and corrupts souls, can wound souls directly. Helm of Domination grants dominion over the Scourge, houses the powers of the Lich King, transport to the Shadowlands. Saronite armor, self-repairs, resistant to magic, reflects holy and light magic. Wow. The Lich King does certainly have some incredible arsenal, and it seems that most of them can't seem to hurt him directly, because he'd be able to recuperate from all of that. But then again, Sauron did have a much greater arsenal, especially when he uses his ring. But maybe the Lich King will overpower that ring. We'll see.
Ner'zhul and Arthas fused to become one, a being far more powerful than either had been before. He could effortlessly cover cities in ice storms, murder hundreds with the power of shadow, and learn all of your secrets with the Eye of Acheris. Azeroth's fate was sealed. Everyone was doomed. See this guy? He's Illidan, a 15,000-year-old demon hunter with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. As a Death Knight, Arthas could take him down, even after fighting through a massive army to get to him.
Oh my.
The Lich King? Illidan never stood a chance. This is important because Illidan had absorbed the power of Gul'dan, an orc warlock who, alongside his followers, raised the Broken Isles out of the sea, a massively powerful of magic. The fact that Arthas, a mortal guy, beat...
While seemingly retconned for a time, Warcraft 3 Reforged reinsured Gul'dan, raising the islands into canon. Reinstated. The feat is consistent across Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, and the Tides of Darkness novel. Wow. So, Gul'dan was able to raise islands, and this was consistent across various novels, and those were put into canon. Man, this MMORPG has some really compelling backgrounds.
Beat him up is a big deal. Just imagine how kick-ass he'd be in full control of the undying Lich King powers. Oh wait, we don't have to. Ner'zhul may have...
Sports fans love native grilling wings, because we have the best lineup of fan food around. On game...
have pulled Arthas' strings up until this...
Powers. Eye of Arceus reveals secrets, summon ghouls. Flight and levitation, ice magic and manipulation, immortality, mind and soul manipulation, necromancy and undead summons, plague of undeath, shadow magic, teleportation, weather manipulation. Oh. So the Lich King has almost the exact same powers as Sauron. In fact, they both have the power of immortality. So it does make you wonder which one of those will be superior. I guess we'll see when the battle starts.
Point, but he had made a drastic miscalculation. Within the mind of the Lich King, Arthas battled Ner'zhul for control and won. The power of Frostmourne.
Oh, there's more. Notable spells. Fury of Frostmourne deals massive damage and disables resurrection. Harvest Soul pulls a soul into Frostmourne to be devoured. Necrotic Plague, an infection that spreads. Raise Dead turns a corpse into an undead servant. Remorseless Winter causes a huge winter storm. Summon Drudge Ghouls creates multiple ghouls. Summon Ice Sphere creates ice projectiles. Summon Shadow Trap creates an explosive trap. Wow. I don't think Sauron has any spells that are just as compelling as those. But then again, his powers he was able to use those for over 54,000 years. Maybe they could be enough to overpower the Lich King.
Of the Scourge of Undeath itself was now under the command of Arthas. And by this point, he was just done. Like, with everything. We've all had one of those days, right? Where you see all of humanity is so pathetic they can only be saved by just killing them all, so you rip out your own heart.
What?
Determined to end all life, Arthas led his Scourge across Azeroth, spreading the plague to every corner of the world. He slaughtered every contender in his path, including legendary champions like this hero of the Horde, Dranosh Sarfang, who the Lich King bitch slapped to death in one hit, then zombified to serve him instead. Man, that didn't go well. The Lich King seemed unstoppable.
Whoa.
Only one thing could take him down. A 25-man raid.
Feats. Beat Illidan Stormridge, who defeated Gul'dan. Conquered a country quickly and effortlessly. Considered the most powerful Lich King. Destroyed a prison that endured planet-shaking attacks. Can canonically wipe out an entire 25-man raid. Defeated Uther the Lightbringer, Dranosh, Sorafang, Sylvanas Windrunner. Wow. Those are some really intense feats. And he's considered the most powerful Lich King. He might be a match for Sauron. Although there could be some possibilities that he might be inferior to him after all. We'll see soon enough.
A team of the best nerds World of Warcraft servers had to offer. And that one guy who was just there because he was friends with somebody, but damn, he sucked. With these, heroes triumphant, the Paladin Tyrion shattered Frostmourne with an equally legendary blade, ending the Lich King's vile reign. But the Scourge doesn't work on Phantom Menace battle droid rules, so there must always be a Lich King to keep the relentless undead in check. Yet no Lich King before or since ever matched the terror and malice Arthas brought to Azeroth. Without a doubt, one of the most terrifying kings to ever conquer the world of Warcraft.
Holy shit.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities. It's time for an undeath battle!
Let's get started. Whoa. Horrifying.
I shall claim what is mine.
Ooh.
In this cold north, you will find only death.
Here it comes. Whoa. Whoa. My God.
I'll tear out your heart. You will find nothing.
Oh man.
Your efforts are for naught.
Oh. Oh boy. Oh. Oh man.
Witness the prophecy of your doom. You speak nothing but lies.
What? Oh man. Whoa. Well, guess we know the true evil one is.
Well, if he wasn't all-powerful before, look out for supercharged Sauron now.
Despite the Lich King's impressive power, Sauron's might was absolute.
But not before he got the duel of his life in a crazy close bout. First up, both Dark Lords could counter pretty much any mind or soul-screwing powers, making a lot of their usual tricks way less noteworthy in this match.
To be fair, the Lich King severely debilitated...
Ner'zhul performed a spell that destroyed a planet, but it required preparation, special items, and a group of followers. Also, the destruction of Draenor was a chain reaction of a spell going haywire over time, making it impossible to directly scale to Ner'zhul. Ah. So this Ner'zhul was able to destroy a planet. However, the destruction of it was the result of a chain reaction from a spell that was going haywire. So it would be impossible to directly scale to that. Wow. Sauron certainly does have more than that sort of capability.
Sauron via his plague of undeath. Most physical bodies would not survive such a disease.
So, Sauron just got rid of his body. Who needs it? Especially when you can rebuild one or just start fighting as a ghost. Both things Sauron could do.
After all, the plague is intended...
Results. Sauron. Positives. Could fight in physical and spirit form. Less obvious weakness, more powerful, resisted mental and soul attacks, superior regeneration. Lich King. Positives, armor resisted magical attacks, Helm could block mental and soul attacks. Plague of Undeath affected Sauron's physical body. Negatives, far less experienced, less powerful. So yeah. Sauron is much older than the Lich King, therefore his powers and arsenal are far more superior than the Lich King's. So it seems that there was no contest for that.
for organic mortal enemies, and and has never infected a spirit.
Another smaller point for Sauron was his weakness. The Lich King was a clever bastard, but even with the Eye of Icarus, it would have been tough for him to decode and destroy the One Ring. Meanwhile, given enough power, Sauron would naturally end up destroying Frostmourne. He's kinda got a thing for breaking swords.
So let's compare their power. Well, their highest
An unnamed Eredar has destroyed the surface of a planet but cannot scale to the Lich King, as Eredar vary in power. Similarly, Special Meyer have moved the sun and moon, but it is unclear how they compare to Sauron. Scaling both generously, Sauron would still be more powerful. I see. So one creature can destroy a planet, but another could be able to move the sun and the moon. So it seems that Sauron would be just as capable as the one who moved the sun and moon. I guess that's another point for Sauron.
limits are certainly nebulous. Interestingly enough, some of the most impressive feats from both worlds involve lifting islands. As Sauron is a more powerful Maya than Osei, and the Lich King could reliably defeat someone with Gul'dan's magic, it is possible to gauge the difference in power by measuring the islands that were raised.
Keep in mind, Gul'dan had a bunch of help, so we're only giving him his share. Turns out, Osei was doing twice the work.
By examining official maps to determine the volume of the islands, we found a difference between lifting 2 quadrillion tons of rock versus 4 quadrillion tons, among further energy required to actually lift these through the ocean, of course. Both impressive, sure, but Sauron had the edge.
And for the final nail in the coffin, the Lich King...
When compared to the Balrogs and Illidan, Sauron and the Lich King could both reach high hypersonic speeds of around Mach 30. Wow. So they can both reach the exact amount of hypersonic speed compared to the creatures in their world. That certainly is impressive, I'll give him that.
He might have been super scary, but he really wasn't around for all that long. At least not when compared to the experience Sauron has warring with the world for thousands of years.
The Lich King certainly posed a threat to Sauron, but the ruler of Mordor's awesome might, enduring spirit, and millennia of treachery proved him the superior Dark Lord.
Wow!
Yep.
Is that it?
What? Are you sour on the pun? I was pretty keen about it.
The winner is Sauron.
Congratulations, Sauron.
Hey, if you want more Death Metal ASAP, why not grab a membership? You'll get exclusive emotes, badges, live chat, live streams, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
Next time. Oh. Deku versus Asta. So that was Sauron versus the Lich King, and Sauron came out victoriously. So in the end, he's the true Supreme Overlord. And the next death battle is going to be Deku versus Asta. Well, the two nobodies who end up gaining supreme powers. This'll certainly be interesting. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.